If you are watching right now, this is the replay. We are no longer live, but welcome. I'm going to be making a custom order today. This is going to be an Alyssa as well as a mini classic zip around wallet. It's a custom order for Latasha. And I apologize about the ratio on the replay. I can't change the picture. I know it's not full screen for those that are watching it on YouTube. I wish there was something I can do, but I can't. I'm sorry. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hey, Claire. Hey, Nancy Bear. Happy Tuesday. How is everybody doing today? I'm waiting for Latasha. I'm doing her custom order today. It's kind of chilly in here. Hello. Hello, hello. Uh-oh. Natasha, there you are. How are you? This is going to be your Alyssa. Hey, Janice. This is going to be your Alyssa. We're going to go ahead and do that first. Hi, Lisa. How many more lives do we get to see? I don't know. Hey, Michelle. How are you? I don't know. I think I have one more. So I have a custom orders, but they didn't want to watch them made live. So I know for sure one I'm going to do off camera because she has a picture of her family printed on the vinyl, and I think she just didn't want to post it on social media, which I completely respect. So I'm gonna have to do hers offline. I know I have 2 or 3 more, and I know that for sure one wanted to watch it live. Hey, Lena. Hey, Kathy. I'm good. So I don't know. I don't know how many more lives we're going to have. This week, it's already Tuesday, but it's been so crazy. I've been trying to get some stuff situated. We still don't have a house to move into when we move to Virginia, but God is good, and I know He will make sure that we are taken care of. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm not sure. long answer short. Hey, Karen. All right, so I'm going to start by making her Alyssa, and there's some modifications that she wanted to this. She wanted the corners of the bottom to be boxed, so it has a little bit more depth to it. There's also a little attachment that she wanted added to hold her glasses, which I think is super cute. We're going to go ahead and add that. And then she wanted to add a zipper pocket on the outside of the bag, so we're going to go ahead and add that as well. So let's get started. Let's do our zipper pocket first. So I just cut out a zipper panel. I have a free template on my website. If you're watching back the replay, I'll link it for you, and you can just go on my website, download this for free. And then you can just change the size if you wanted to. So let's do the pocket first, and then we'll add everything else. I know, I'm really excited to do it. I've never added all of these modifications before. I think that I've added a zipper pocket to the outside one time, but I'm not sure if I've ever boxed the bottom of it. So it's going to be cute. All right, so this is going to be the pocket for the exterior. And to do this with a zipper overlay, you want to lay your fabric right side up and place the zipper on the very top of it, also right side up, and then we're going to sew this down. Let me turn on my iron so I can get that heating up. And then now with the other pocket, you also want to lay that right side up, and then lay our zipper right side up or teeth up at the very top, and then sew that down. exciting happening for you guys this week? Black with red, I know, I agree. All right, now all I'm gonna do is just press this flat and then give it a good press with my iron. Let me see if I can bring it over here without knocking my camera down. Just so that zipper lays nice and flat. Then I'm gonna turn it around and give it a press on this side as well. And then just add my pull and set this aside. I'm gonna be a grandma. Congrats! Anytime soon? Hey, Just Mammy! I remembered to text you this time. Scotland on holiday. That sounds like fun. How long are you there? I think they said November. Oh, that's still a lot of time to be excited. My sister just became a grandmother like a month ago. I was only late because I was scrolling TikTok. Yeah, and I heard last time that you don't get notified if you're already on TikTok, which is weird. I'm having my first grand. Oh, congrats! For a week. Uh-oh. That whole tape came off. That sounds like so much fun. Okay, now what we're going to do is center it on the top. So the way that the Alyssa is made, this is a crossbody style bag, and there's a top panel and a bottom panel, and they are sewn together. So the zipper that we're placing is going to be on the very top of it, if you've never seen this bag made before. How was my trip? It was very interesting. I got food poisoning the first day and was sick pretty much the whole time, but I survived. Hello. Hey, Brenda. All right, we're gonna go ahead and just center this. Press the tape down. And then we're gonna go ahead and sew around the outside of it. Let me get my lighting right. I like to manually go around the corners just to make sure my seam allowance is right. I'm going to pull my thread through so I can knot it off. You want to make sure your original thread is out of the way so that you don't sew over top of it. That would just kind of defeat the purpose. Alrighty. Then we're going to pull that through again and knot it off. And if you wanted to add this zipper the way that I'm doing it to your Alyssa, I'll give you all of the measurements that I used. So I cut the zipper overlay 8.5, I believe. Yeah, 8.5 wide. And then I positioned it 1 1/4 inch below the top. And then now I'm just gonna cut out the fabric on the inside. I got food poisoning. Oh no! Ugh, that's the worst. Actually, the worst is being in a different country where they don't speak English and don't have Pepto-Bismol. But getting food poisoning is the worst. Especially if you were celebrating Mother's Day. Hopefully you're feeling better. Hey, Jen girl. Yeah, she definitely had it. Ugh, that's still terrible. Hopefully you're feeling better. Okay, so we got all the fabric out of the back of it, and then now I'm just gonna add a piece of double-sided tape along the top and bottom. Jen, this is going to be an Alyssa, but there's some modifications that I'm making on it. So this is going to be a crossbody bag, and then I'm going to be making a mini classic zip around wallet. This is for a custom order for Miss Latasha. All right, and then the pockets, I cut this 9 inches wide by 7 inches tall. Make sure. I need to repaint my hall bath after. I felt sorry for the people who were cleaning our hotel room. Like, I had to hand them the waste basket from the hotel room and let them know that I needed another one. Because, you know, like a lot of hotel rooms, they don't put a liner in their in the trash can in the bathroom. So I had to call down and ask for another one. And then when she came back like fully masked, gloves. I felt terrible. Today I'm fighting. Oh. Okay, so we have our pocket just centered in the zipper panel, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew along the inside of this rectangle to secure the pocket. How does it go everywhere like that? How? What do you mean? Oh. I don't know. But I'm starting to get PTSD and like flashbacks. All right, I'm gonna pull my thread through here as well. You're okay. I love how classy this zipper overlay makes this bag. Just adds another layer of gorgeousness. That's my iron going off. The slightest pinch, I need, yeah. Yep. I feel you, literally. Okay, I'm gonna seal those little tiny threads with my lighter. And then now what I'm going to do is just pull this down as far as it'll go. Cut it so it's even, and then we're gonna sew this pocket up. So this bag has an interior zipper pocket, which I left open to turn the bag right side out when we're done making it. So this pocket is gonna be fully closed. But if you didn't add one to the inside, or if you want to turn it through this one, you would just leave the bottom open. Hi, Latoya. So I'm just going to hold back the top and sew everything down. to trim a little bit of this excess fabric. And then I'm just going to hit the sides of my zipper with my lighter just to kind of seal that so it doesn't unravel. Did you leave earlier or stay? No, on vacation we stayed the whole time. Latasha, your addition for your glasses, did you want that on this side or did you want that on the other side? Deanie or just Mammy, if you don't mind pinning that when she answers. I'm going to go ahead and just work on the attachments. The front. Okay, did you want this to be the front or the back? Hi, is where my husband born in Hawaii. Thanks, Arlene. Okay, so this is going to be where the crossbody strap is attached to the bag. So I just folded the sides into the center and then I'm just securing them by sewing along each side. This part's going to be folded over and covered so you're not going to see that seam down the center. You want this to be the front, so you want it on this side, right? Yes, okay, good. All right, so these are going to be for the crossbody attachments, and then I'm going to use this for her eyeglass holder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wind up just sewing this together like this, and then when we attach the lower, oh no, there's the fall. When we attach the lower part of the bag, we're going to go ahead and sew this into our seam. And then that way this little hook will be visible on the outside of the bag. I should have brought a pair of glasses. Oh, you know what? My husband's glasses are right at the edge of the stairs. Hold on one second. I'm going to show you what it looks like with the glasses. He has like 5 pair of glasses and leaves them all over the house. I saw these this morning. So this will just hook in like this and it'll be on here. Do you want it on the left, the center, or the right, or does it matter? But it's big enough for a pair of eyeglasses and then you still have a little bit of space. Hello, I didn't know you were live. Hey, Natalie. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing with the crossbody strap connectors. Hey, hello, I did. Oh, the left side. Okay. Let me go ahead and sew down our crossbody strap connectors and then we'll go ahead and do that part. All right, I'm going to set these aside for later. All right, and we'll go ahead and work on these now. So I'm going to get that pocket out of the way so I don't sew over it. We're going to go right side. That's my delivery man, so my dog might bark a little bit. And we're going to wind up sewing this down. with this on the inside. And when I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and do the back of it as well. So we're just going to go right sides together, clip it in place. I'll double check, make sure, because this is directional. I want to make sure that I'm sewing it right side up. Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and trim this little excess piece down. Now we're gonna open it up and do a top stitch. I'm gonna just clip my pocket out of the way so I don't sew on it. How do I want to do this? Normally I top stitch along the bottom part, but I might have to go top. Yeah, because you want this pointing down, right? You don't want this pointing up. Yeah, down obviously, because the glasses are going to be hanging down. So I'm going to go ahead and sew top stitch along the top part. And I'm just going to go really slow. I'm going to grab the other one and do the same thing. What do you use to make the leather around the zipper? The zipper overlay, it's vinyl. I actually have a free pattern on my website where you can make your own. You can download the pattern for free. Oh, shucks. I started sewing on the black, which is what I normally do. Good thing I only made one stitch. Latasha, because we got so much stuff going on the front, instead of putting the name tag down here, do you want to just go ahead and add a charm to the zipper at the top closure? Where can I find the material that you use? Sounds more like leather. No, this is vinyl. This is a faux leather. The solid black I got from marinevinylfabric.com. Alright, so here's going to be the front, here's going to be the back, and then the glasses will just slide right in there, like that. Yes to the charm. Alright, let me set these aside and then we can work on the zipper closure for the top. We're going to fan it open. So to do that, I just like to make a mark 1 inch from the bottom or from the opening. I just add a little mark on both sides, 1 inch down, open it up. We're going to fold it at that mark and pinch it. And while that's pinched, we're going to bring the back up perpendicular. And then I'm just going to add a little pin to hold that in place until I sew it down. Same thing on this side. Pinch where that little mark is, pull up the back so it's perpendicular, and add a pin. And then I'm just going to go ahead and sew down the side right here to keep it in place so I can remove my pins. Just like that. And then I'm going to trim this little piece off over here. And doing this just makes it look a little bit prettier. It's definitely not necessary, but it makes it look a little bit prettier when it's on the bag. All right. So I'm just going to take this over my trash can so these don't fly across the room and cut that down on both sides. And then I'm going to hit it with a lighter to keep the edges from fraying. And then I'm going to go ahead and measure down where I need to add my zipper end. That's right here. Every time I cut the zipper, I like to hit it with the lighter. I'm late. What are you making? Hey, Teresa. This is a modified, I would say heavily modified Alyssa crossbody bag. And then I have to make a mini zip around wallet. Latasha, I went ahead and did your your change purse, and I'll show you that once I'm done with this. I didn't know if I was going to have time to do all three of them. I'm waiting for a phone call on this property that we're supposed to be doing a virtual tour with tomorrow at 6 a.m. because of the time difference. And I didn't want to miss that call. Alright, so I just added some double-sided tape. I'm going to sew this down and then just trim the sides so it's nice and even. Hey, Michelle! Zipper is all done. Now what we're going to do, I want to make sure that my zipper is going the same way as my zipper pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and clip that down. We're going to sew it in place. You both excited to be moving? Yes. I'll be more excited once we have a house. Like, I have my car, I'm dropping my car off to be shipped back to the mainland next weekend. And I had to call my sister who lives in Northern Virginia to get her address where they can drop it off at because I don't have one. So just little things like that have made it a little bit stressful. All right, so now we're just adding one of the interior lining pieces to the zipper, and I'm going to go ahead and sew that down as well. Get that zipper pull out of the way. It will all come together. I'm not super stressed. I'm just mildly stressed. It's a long time to be carless. Yeah, but you know what? To be honest with you, because I work from home, I don't really use my car that much anyways. And worst case, I can just, if I need to use it, I can just take my husband to work and just use it while he's at work. The only crappy thing is that I would have to go and pick him up, and traffic is crazy. I'm going to make sure that my pocket on the inside is pulled down because the next step is going to be the top stitch along the top. How close will you be? So my mom moved to Tennessee, so she is no longer in Virginia, but I am an hour away from my sister, one of my sisters, and then I'm about 2.5 hours away from my other sisters and my brother. who live in Southern Virginia. So I'll be in Northern Virginia. They all live in Southern Virginia. And then my mom, who lives in Tennessee, is a 2-hour flight. All right, so we have the zipper attached to the front, and then we're going to do the same thing in the inside lining, and then we're going to do the same thing with the back. We're going to go ahead and attach that first, and then sew on the lining. When will you start packing? Probably the end of the first week of June, like the 7th of June. Who asked that? Frida. I know you asked about a sale. A sale is coming. I'm just not prepared to post about it yet. But there will be a sale, which I normally do every time I move anyways. Hey, I live in Virginia, right? So we've been looking at Arlington. This other lining has a zipper pocket. This is the one that I left over so that we can turn it right side out after we finish sewing everything together. So we're going to sew this to the zipper. Yeah, we've been looking at like Arlington or Alexandria. He's going to be working in the Pentagon, so we need to be like relatively close. How long have you been in Hawaii? 3 long years. It's beautiful here, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm gonna miss. But island fever is a real thing. Hey, Terrace. I have a friend in Alexandria. I heard it's beautiful up there. I'm really looking forward to moving up there. Okay, so now what we're going to do, making sure everything is out of the way, is do a top stitch along this side. So here's the benefits of a top stitch. It allows it, this side right here is top stitch. It just allows it to lay nice and flat, and then it just gives it a really nice finish. Similarly, when we sewed open the zipper right here so that it had a curve to it, that's the reason. It just gives it a really pretty look. Cool, just about an hour. Oh, nice. I feel like I've talked to a lot of people on my Facebook group and here, the people who follow me. I hate saying that. But that live in Northern Virginia. I guess I should say there's a lot of people in my Butterbag circle that live in Northern Virginia. Maybe we can have like a little meetup. That's complicated. Okay. Exterior and interior are all sewn onto the zipper, and then now what we're going to do is sew everything together. Before I do, I want to add the crossbody strap connectors, which are going to be sewn right here and right here. So I want to get it lined up. Butterbag Club in Virginia. My daughter lived in Alexandria before her family moved back to Texas. That's our ultimate, that's hopefully our next move is Texas. But the one amazing thing is about the Alexandria area is that they have so many lakes, really good fishing spots. How was your vacation? Hey, Susan. It was the roughest vacation I ever had. I got food poisoning the first day I was there and was sick the rest of the trip. but I survived. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to put the exterior to the exterior and then the interior to the interior. We're going to clip it all the way around and then sew it down. We're going to sew it inside out. We're going to turn it right side out to this zipper pocket right here that I left open. So I want to just make sure that I unzip that so that I have access to it. And then I'm going to start clipping it together. And it's really important when you're clipping it together to make sure that you match these seams right here, because if not, when you're done with it, those seams aren't going to line up. So I always start where the top meets the bottom on the outside. Let me show you a bag. So this one's gonna look a little bit differently, but this is the crossbody bag, how it looks when it's all done. And again, if you don't match up your sides when you sew everything together, it's gonna be lopsided. So that's why it's super important to do that first. Even if the bottom pieces don't match up 100%, that's okay. As long as your sides do. And then I'm just gonna add clips all the way around. I'll grab some more clips. Did you discover anything fun on your pre-vacay on the island? Oh, you're talking about Japan? If you're talking about Japan, we did the very last day go to, where did we go? Where did we go? It wasn't the zoo. Oh, the aquarium. The aquarium. And I absolutely adore penguins, and they have this open, uncovered, like really huge tank where they let their penguins like sit around and swim around, and that was probably the most fun that I had on the vacation. I want to make sure that I don't sew over either pocket, so I'm just going to be keeping an eye out while I'm sewing this together. Going from 2 layers of cotton to 2 layers of vinyl with our little crossbody strap attachments can be a little bit difficult. So when I go over there, I just like to back stitch just to reinforce that stitch. Just take it nice and slow. Make sure I didn't sew my pocket. I did. That's okay. Caught it just the tiniest amount. All right, now I'm going over my crossbody strap. Make sure my pocket is out of the way. Done. So now, because the entire weight of the bag is going to be on these crossbody strap attachments right here, I'm going to go ahead and just add another little stitch right here just to reinforce the attachment. I made plenty without reinforcing it like this, and nothing ever happened to them, but doing this just makes me feel a little bit better. So let me trim the excess down. I'm also going to cut my corners just to get that extra fabric out of that corner, so when I turn it right side out, it lays a lot flatter. What thread do you use? I use Gutermann. I get it from Wawak, and it is the Mara 70. All right. I'll turn this right side out before I do. Let me give you some options on the charm. So this is going to be A. This is going to be B. And then this is going to be C. Let me know if you want me to take it out of the bag. I'm sure you've seen it before. So A, B, C. Which would you prefer for the charm? A. Okay. So now I'm going in that zipper pocket. I'm going to turn this right side out. I like to start with the corners. I'm going to poke this through. Hi, Deborah. Get that started and then grab it with my hand and then just pull it through that pocket and then just push and roll until everything is out. And I'm just going to press out all my seams. I'm also going to use a little screwdriver to get that extra fabric out of there so it's a nice angled corner. There we are. Do the same thing over here. Just poke that fabric out. There we go. And then now I'm going to go ahead and sew my zipper pocket shut. Latasha, I don't think that we talked about the crossbody strap webbing. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I brought some options. I'm going to have to sew it offline because I'm going to have to cut it and cut the accent pieces. But I wanted to show you the options after your bag was made so you can kind of see everything together. Oh, shucks. Thank you. I forgot about that too. All right, no problem. Let's take this stitch out. So she wanted the corners boxed, which what that does is it gives the bag, it's going to be sewn like this. So it's going to give the bag a little bit more depth. It is going to make it a little shorter, but it will give the bag more depth. And we needed to do that before we turned it right side out, but I was just talking too much. So we'll just take this stitching out. And then we're going to turn it right side or inside out again and box the corners. Thank you. I said it before I started and then totally forgot. Easy fix. Loops and double hooks. So we're going to turn this inside out again. Alright, and then what you want to do is you want to align the seams so that they are right on top of each other. And you can kind of feel with your fingers that it is. And then I'm just gonna add a couple clips. So you wanna make sure that they are right on top of each other like that. Reverse birthing, yes. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, while this is pressed open, is measure up from the corner 1 inch. And draw a line. And that is where I'm going to sew down in order to box the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my seam and add a clip so everything just gets sewn nice and flat. And I'm going to do the same thing on all 4 corners. So 2 for the outside, and then we're going to do the same thing for the lining. It doesn't really matter what side you draw your line. Clip open that seam, and then we'll do the same thing here. Pull your fabric out. Feel for that seam to line up right on top of each other. Add some clips. And then we're going to measure up 1 inch here as well. Open up that seam, clip it down, and then do this last one. Do you do a medium size barrel bag? I do. It's called a Colette. It's on my site. I have a couple available. All right, let's open up that seam. And then we're just going to sew all 4 of these down. And that's going to give dimension to our bag. And if you don't want the boxiness as wide as I'm doing it, then you can just do a 1/2 inch down from the quarter. If you want it wider than what I'm doing it, then you would just measure 1.5 inches or even 2 inches down. Just remember, the wider your box is, the shorter your bag gets. Hey, look who's back. Hey, Nikki. I came back last week, but I don't know if a lot of people just didn't get notified. It was kind of a quiet live. But yes, I'm back. I'm back. Alrighty. And then now I'm just going to go ahead and cut down and leave behind about 1/4 inch. And then we're going to turn it right side out. I was watching my grandson play last live. Nice. I love watching little kids play baseball and t-ball. Hey, Christine. All right, just press out our sides. So see how it gives it that box look. And that's why you want to make sure that your seams are right on top of each other when you do it, so that you just have that natural line that goes all the way around. Because if you don't have your seams lined up, it'll just be offset a little bit, which isn't the end of the world. A lot of people aren't going to be looking at the bottom of your bag. All right, now let's sew our pocket back up. And take these little pieces of thread. back down. So it kind of gives it a totally different look. I'm going to set this next to a regular one. Tuck my lining in. So we got the pocket on the inside, pocket on the outside. Okay, let me show you the, let me put your charm on and then I'll show you the crossbody webbing options that I have. That was closely matched. I think I have a red one as well if you want to see that. I just grabbed the black because everything was black, but I do have a red one I can use. I'll grab that if you want to see it. There we go. Okay. So I have solid black. This is a nylon. I have this black on black. So it's black on black. That's what that looks like. Then I have this black on white, which kind of goes with the black on white. Let me go grab the red. And then this is a red on white. So let me show you what they all look individually. So that's what that looks like. Black on black. Black on white. And then this red on white. Latasha, which would you prefer? Hey, Mona. I hate to put you on the spot. I just completely forgot to show you these pictures. Solid black with red for the accent ends. So the accent ends are going to be the faux leather. The accent ends with the vinyl is going to be black. Let me see. Kind of like this. See how the accent end on this strap is black? It's the vinyl. I can't use, unless you want red, I can use red vinyl for the end. So, uh-oh, your live is not. So is that what you wanted? Solid black with red vinyl on the ends? Yes. Okay, perfect. So I'll make that after the live because I'm going to have to go and cut all this stuff out. And then I'll send you a picture of it once I'm done. So this one right here, right? Okay, perfect. You're welcome. Okay, so here's the change purse that I made for you. And then we're going to do a mini wallet to go with this set as well. So let me grab that. It's right behind me. So the only thing left that I have to do is the crossbody strap after this, and then I'll send you a picture with everything together. Where do you get those straps? Mostly Amazon. If you go to my website, I have a link for all of the stuff that I purchased from Amazon, and it's there. All right, let's start with our lining. So this brown is called Craft Tex, and it gives the fabric a lot of strength. It's a type of interfacing. It just brings thickness to the wallet. So this is going to be a pretty thick wallet because there is a layer of Craft Tex for the inside lining as well as the exterior. All right. So this wallet has 2 credit card slots on this side and then 2 credit card slots on this side. So we're going to go ahead and get those positioned and then sew them down. Yes, mini classic zip around wallets by Maggie 55. I'm going to measure down. And then center this. Add a couple clips to hold it in place. I need to scooch it over just a tiny bit. Then I'm going to go ahead and trim the excess fabric off the side. Clip it in place and then sew it down. Is that turquoise purse I just had for sale? It is. It's on my website. Yep. This right here. Yeah. This is called Kiana. It's quilted. But yeah, it's for sale on my site. Alright, sew this down. Alright, and then now I'm just going to trim the little extra that's left behind. I normally do this over my trash can, keep it clean. Keep it clean, keep it cute. I forgot to sew the little pieces in the beginning, but that's fine. I can do it now. There we go. What was the brown? This is called Craft Text with a K. K-R-A-F-T-T-E-X. So it makes it super hard, which is good for a wallet. All right, we're going to do the exact same thing over here. What do you use for quilting the vinyl? I use foam on vinyl. I have a YouTube tutorial showing you how I do it, but foam. There we go. So I know one looks like it's upside down, but by the end of it, this is a zip around wallet. So by the end of it, it's going to be like this. So you'll be able to access both sides of the credit card. Oh gosh, little puzzle piece. I like this so much better than the other one. You're welcome. All right, I'm gonna trim this over the trash can so I don't get my table dirty. All right, next we're going to add our sides, which is this right here. And I'll show you, let me grab a wallet to show you. So this is what it looks like when it's all done. These little side pieces right here, that's what keeps the wallet from opening all the way up flat. It keeps it folded in. It also is going to hold the zipper pocket in the center of it, which is the last piece to be added. So right now we just sewn in our credit card slots, and then next we're gonna go ahead and attach our side pieces, which is this right here. And then I use Fabri-Tac glue. I'm just gonna add a little bit to the sides. Let me grab a little tissue, clean it off. Let me just snip the top. It's acting like it doesn't want to come out. There we go. All right, next we're going to line it up with our credit card pocket and then tuck it behind it, and then flip this over and then clip it in place. There we go, and then we'll just set that aside to dry once we're done with all of our pieces. Did your dad play guitar? Yeah, he did. And he was the mechanic, which is where the wrench comes in. Hey Cindy, how are you? Oh, no need to apologize. Welcome. I missed your question, but hopefully someone answered it. All right, last one. And then we're going to set this aside to dry. So even though it's just glued on right now, in a couple of minutes, once we've given a little time to dry, I'm going to go ahead and sew each one of these down. This is just going to hold it in place. And while that's drying, we're going to go ahead and add the zipper to the exterior. This is one of my all-time favorite prints, the message print. Okay, let me get these out of the way. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is do a little fake stitch in the center. So as you can see, based off the pattern on here, here's the center of it once it's closed up. when we sew the inside, or when we sew the zipper on, we actually start sewing the zipper right here. So we need a couple of faux stitches to connect those two. So this part right here is where we're doing some faux stitches. And then when we sew our zipper on, we start at the top of here and go all the way around. And then we start at the top of here and go all the way around. So that's the first thing we're gonna do, is just a couple of stitches to connect those two. And again, this has craft text, and then this is a faux leather. I'm not back stitching when I'm starting, and when I'm stopping, I'm going to pull through my threads and knot them off. And it just gives it a really seamless look because you don't have multiple layers of stitching. Normally the pattern tells you to pull the thread to the middle and put a piece of tape on it, but my tape is outside of my office, so I'm just going to cut it. Hi Blair. That's funny, I've been working on a regular size wallet. It's done nothing but fought me. The regular size zipper on wallet. I remember the first couple times I made them. It's not an easy pattern, but it is incredibly rewarding if you can get through it. Just keep at it. I've literally made hundreds, which is why I can do this pattern in my sleep. But it was not easy the first couple times I did it. I would say watch a couple of different people make the wallet, like on YouTube. There's a ton of tutorials on it, because sometimes if somebody does something one way, you can be like, oh man, that really works for me. And some people do it differently. I'm not sure if she has a pattern or a tutorial that comes with it. But I would just say watch a couple different people make it and see what works best for you. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and mark where I am going to lay my zipper. I'm also new to this site. Do you sell patterns as well? I do. Yep. So my website, butterbags.com, if you go to the menu, there's a section that says DIY, and that's where all of my patterns are. And then within the menu, you can shop by style, and you can look at like the crossbody, the wallets, everything else that I have. So yeah, I sell both. All right, I'm just connecting those straight lines around the curve. And then now I'm going to go ahead and put some double-sided tape down. That's going to hold the zipper in place while we sew it. So remember, we have our stitches here. We're going to start in this stitch, sew all the way around to this stitch. So we don't have to put tape all the way around, just where we're going to be laying our zipper and sewing that down. And then I just kind of fold and turn my tape as I'm pressing it in, so it looks like that. Just fold, press it in, do a little turn. There we are. I'm gonna stop at the stitches, and I'm gonna start again over here. Latasha, do you want the same charm for this one, or did you want the smaller one? The same charm that's on your Alyssa. All right, so that's our tape. Let me grab our zipper and our pull. The smaller one, sure. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and mark the center on the wrong side. So I'm just gonna put just a little dash on both edges right here. That's it. And that I'm going to line up with this center mark that I've drawn here. That way when we open up the zipper to sew it on each side, we know it's gonna match up because we have our center marks matched on the zipper as well as the center mark on the wallet. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off one side of the double-sided tape. I'm going to align that mark to the center. I'm going to open this up. I like to add just a little clip to the end so I don't accidentally wind up pulling my whole pull off. And then just bring this around using that line that I drew. So I like to do the straight way first, right? So I did that and then I did that and then I'll come back and add my corner. I just leave a little bit of zipper tape out like that. Go down this straight way, and then I come back and I fix my little curve. Which I left a little bit extra off. It's not a problem. It's just tape. Give it one more good press all the way around. Clip this out of the way. And then I like to push my zipper over so that I can go ahead and sew. So we're gonna start at the top of these stitches that we made, sew all the way around, and then stop at these stitches that we made. And I'm not gonna back stitch, I'm gonna pull my thread through. That way it just looks like one seamless row of stitching. And then just go slow. And the goal is to end in the same stitch that we started. So you're going to see these clip marks, they'll eventually go away. But here's where we started, and then here's where we stopped. And then we're just going to pull our stitches through and knock them off, and then do the exact same thing on the other side. Hi, So Enticing. That's a cute name. Okay. There we are. So this is what we just sewn on. And then we're going to do the same thing over here on this side. So I'm going to clip this little tail out of the way. Get one more press on my tape, make sure that's secured. Pull off the backing. And then again, to make sure that everything is going to line up, we're going to match our center mark to this center mark. I'm just going to push it in this straight way here. Let a little loose on my corner. There we go. So see again how I don't press the tape into the corner. I'm going to come back and do it. And if I leave too much off, then I'll just lift it up and pull it down. This is fine. Clip that out of the way. And same thing over here. Leave a little bit for the corner. Press that down. And then fan out what I have left. I left a little bit extra behind. So I'll just make sure my corner is good. Lift it up and follow it back down. There we are. And then we're just gonna pull over and sew it down. Nice and slow. Pull my thread through and knot it off. And that is how you add the zipper. Oh no. I think I cut my little threads too short. There we are. That was stressful. And I'm just gonna hit these little pieces of thread with my lighter just to kind of seal those in. There we are. All right, and then I always like to zip it up. Usually, not always. I'll usually just zip it up, make sure everything lines up. My zipper tape looks good for the outside. It's gonna get a little bit more structure once we put the inside in. But this way you can make sure that your zipper was put on properly and it matches up all the way around. I need needle no plier for grabbing short threads. Yeah, that's smart. Hi, thanks. All right, so we're going to set this aside. Our interior has had enough time to dry, and then now I'm just gonna go ahead and sew down my little side pieces. And I am back stitching when I'm starting and when I'm stopping. Alrighty, one more. And then the next step is that we're going to sew the interior with the exterior. Put those together. Do you have to use a heavy duty? For this pattern, I probably wouldn't make this on my domestic sewing machine. Just a regular old domestic sewing machine, I wouldn't, just because you have thick layers of vinyl, thick layers of cotton. So remember, we just sewed over the cotton, the craft text, this cotton, which has 2 layers, and then this cotton right here. So it's multiple layers. And then the next step, we're gonna sew these 2 together. So personally, for my domestic machine, I wouldn't use it. I would use a heavy duty or an industrial. Would you make a tote out of nylon material? Are you asking for like stability's sake or visually? Nylon is very strong. So if you're asking about stability, it would hold up. This is double-sided tape. This is 1/2" double-sided tape. I get mine from Wawak, W-A-W-A-K. All right, now what we're going to do, the double-sided tape is going to hold this in place while we're sewing it together. So I'm just going to get this nice and centered all the way around. And then press that into the tape. And then at this point, if you want, you can go ahead and zip it up, make sure everything fits. But I can tell by just looking at the exposed zipper tape all the way around that it'll be fine. And I've made so many of them. I made one out of canvas. Yeah, I've made a couple bags out of canvas too. That's a nice medium to use. I like to interface my canvas with like a couple layers of SF101. But yeah. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start sewing this all the way around. We're not going to sew in the center part, just like we didn't sew on the center part when we added our zipper. And what that's going to do is allow us to tuck our zipper in between the interior and the exterior in between here when we're done. So if we sew around all the way around, we're going to close that hole, but we need that to be able to tuck our zipper in once we're done. All right, make sure we're good. And then again, just go nice and slow. So what I did is I used the first row of stitching, which is this top one here where we sewed our zipper on, as a guide for the row of stitching that's right below it. And then we're just going to pull our thread through and knot it off. Hi, Vivian. Was that the first, what was the first bag you ever made? Goodness. It's been so long, I couldn't tell you. I think it may have been like a little change purse. No, I know what it was. It was a little tote bag. Just a cotton tote bag. I was in college and I wanted to make something to carry my little books in. Alright, so that is sewn on. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing over here. It was pink. I have a picture of it. It comes up in my Facebook memories every year. And I'm like, man, that was an ugly bag. But you gotta start somewhere. Alrighty. Do you make your own patterns? Some of them, yeah. Yeah. Did I get the bug after that? Yeah. So when I made the first tote bag, I was actually really into making clothes. So I made like an apron, like non-clothes. I made an apron. I made a couple of tote bags, and then yeah, it was like on from there. A couple years later, I wound up quitting my, I finished college, I wound up quitting my accounting job and started doing this full time because I made more money doing this than I was at my accounting job. And I just never stopped. I'm just gonna seal those little pieces of thread left behind. There's hope for me yet, yes. Alright, so now at this point, because it is so thick with all of these layers of fabric plus that craft text, I like to kind of just mold it. I also like to zip it closed, make sure we don't have any problems. We don't want no problems. So everything fits, everything looks really good. The next part is to sew our side pieces together. Self-taught, yeah. So when I started sewing, it was over 10 years ago, and I just watched a whole lot of YouTube videos. So if I could do it back then, and there's so much more content available now, literally you can do it. Definitely takes a lot of practice and a lot of patience, but you can do it. So now we're going to go ahead and sew these sides together. Are you still in Hawaii? Yes. I'll be here until the end of next month. All right, next and final, we're going to add our zipper pocket. You want to make sure that the zipper, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but you want to make sure that the zipper is opening the same way. So the zipper is fully open and the pull is on the right side. So when my zipper is fully open, the pull needs to be on the right side. And then we're going to go ahead and line this up. Clip that in place. And then sew it down. It's going to go so fast. I know! I was looking at those grays. Okay. I personally would not use a regular domestic sewing machine to make this pattern, but there are a lot of really great patterns that you can use bag making with a regular sewing machine. I just personally wouldn't, because like with this thickness, like all these layers of fabric, it's really tough for a regular sewing machine to get through them all. And it also depends on the material that you use. If you omit the craft text, you will not have as strong of a wallet as this is, but you'll still have a wallet. And you may be able to use a regular sewing machine. So you can practice around with different material, different interfacing to see what works best for you and what you have. You don't want to go out and invest in an industrial sewing machine if all you're going to do is make one little wallet. I broke 3 needles. What, making this? Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, this is a tough pattern to make with a regular sewing machine. I will not tell a lie. Alright, let me singe my little threads. Let me get out of the air conditioner. Make bags on a heavy-duty domestic. Yeah, I think I've seen someone use a heavy-duty sewing machine and make this pattern before. Don't hold me to it, but I'm pretty sure I did. All right, so the last step is just to get rid of our little zipper tails down here. So I'm going to go ahead and zip this shut. I'm going to trim this down. Grab my pliers. Grab my little charm and my glue. Does singeing the thread mark the fabric? No. If you just do it really quickly, no. If you leave it on there, then yeah, it can. All right, charm is done. Now we want to open up this really slow because we don't have a whole lot of material. I like to pull my pocket to the opposite side of whatever I'm doing. So I'm going to start with this. And then remember how we left that center open? I'm going to go ahead and just try to pull those two apart just to kind of open that up. And then we're going to tuck our zipper. I usually do this on my lap. Tuck our zipper in between those two layers. Give it a little coaxing. Talk nice to it. Whatever you got to do to get that in between those layers. We'll come back and fix it because I'm sure it's not really pretty. And then we're going to do the same thing. Pull the pocket to the opposite side. Reach in between those two layers. Kind of pull them apart. And then tuck our zipper down in between. There we are. Straighten everything out. I'm going to close it up. And then I'm going to fix it. So see how it's kind of coming to the left a little bit? I'm going to fix that. And then we have a little bump here. I'm going to fix that as well. So usually if you just grip the zipper and kind of give it a little push. You can also do it over here. This takes a little bit of practice. I mean, obviously I don't have it perfect even now. There we are. And then we'll go ahead and come over here, fix this. We'll pull up that zipper tape. There we go. All right, let's close it. That craft text is really hard, so you have to kind of mold the shape. Like I said, I usually do this on my lap, so it's a little bit easier, but there we go. It's more centered now. And then what we're going to do is we're going to stick the nozzle down in between those two layers to glue this in place. Let me clean it off. Stick that right down. The same thing over here. There we are. All done. I'm not going to unzip it because I want that to dry. So we are all done, Latasha. We have your wallet, your zippered bag, change purse, and then we have your crossbody bag without a crossbody strap yet. But I'll go ahead and send you a photo once I get that all put together. So do you also do your clothes on this machine? No, I have a different sewing machine. This one's too tough for clothes. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. So all of this will fit in here plus more. Just plenty of space for other stuff. Plus you have the zipper pocket on the outside. Thank you guys. All right, I am going to run. I'm not sure when I will see you guys next. Hopefully Thursday, but I can't promise. I'm going to really try though. I'm going to really try to get on Thursday. I know tomorrow is a really busy day. I have our packers doing a walk through the house to kind of, I guess, guesstimate the weight of everything for packing day to see how many days they need to pack and how much crap they need to bring over to pack all of our stuff up. Days they need to pack and how much crap they need to bring over to pack all of our stuff up. So, but Thursday, I don't think I have anything going on. So I'm going to try to come live, even if it's just a chit chat. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will hope to see you on Thursday. Bye.